Hey everybody, welcome to the channel and thank you so much for joining me for a visit to Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which is located between the cities of Cleveland and Akron in the state of Ohio. Okay, for our first stop in the park, we're going to check out Bridal Falls, which I guess apparently is an actual Cleveland park. I'm not quite sure it was on the guide, but so let's go check it out. As we hike out to Bridal Falls, we'll get right into the park summary. Cuyahoga Valley National Park was established in the year 2000 by President Bill Clinton, and the park sees about 2.9 million visitors annually, but you'll see there's no problem with crowds here. The park protects the land along the Cuyahoga River between Cleveland and Akron. There are quite a few waterfalls here. There's lakes, cliffs, and some caves. For wildlife, you have your usual wilderness staples of deer, foxes, squirrels, and such, and the mosquitoes can be bad here. As for weather, it doesn't get too hot here in the summertime and there's good tree coverage, so you should be quite comfortable during the summertime, but I would avoid winters. Finally, due to the proximity of those two large cities, cell service here is absolutely fine. And with all that said, let's take a closer look at Bridal Falls. Not sure there's a lot to this one. Let's head into the rest of the park. Our next stop is going to be the Bedford Scenic Overlook, and we're facing northeast here, so I'm not quite sure if this overlook would work for sunrise. Before we reach our next destination, let's go ahead with an overview of the park map. On the map, you can see the section of the Cuyahoga River that the national park protects. You will notice you have light green areas and you have some other sections that are maybe a tealish colored. Those areas represent either reservations or privately managed land that's also within the national park. The red dotted line there is the towpath of the historic Ohio and Erie Canal, which was used in the mid-1800s before the adoption of railroads in order to transport goods across the state to Lake Erie. You also notice on the map there is the scenic railroad. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that we will not be exploring either the towpath or taking a ride on the train because I could only budget one day for this visit and I just had to make a tough choice there. I'll speak more about the scenic train ride a little bit later, so make sure you stick around. You also notice the red dots on the map. Those are boarding stations for the scenic railway. Now, for what we will see in this video, we've already stopped at Bridal Falls here. Next, we stopped at the Bedford Overlook. Now we'll be heading to Brandywine Falls. Then we'll venture around to the Boston Mill Visitor Center here before hiking out to Hen Falls. Coming back from that waterfall, we'll then head to the National Park signature hike, the Ledges Trail. And to finish up, we'll have stops at Kendall Lake, the Everett Bridge, and finally Beaver Marsh. Appreciate you so much for sticking with me for that overview of the park. Let's continue on to Brandywine Falls. Okay, so now we're headed down to Brandywine Falls. What I am liking about this national park so far is they do have mixed recycling. I was finding recycling for bottles and cans, but not for paper. So I get to finally discard some of my paper recycling. Let's check out the falls. With storage space at such a premium in the van, I really appreciated the park here helping me unload all the cardboard that I had accumulated in the van over the last few weeks. Okay, Brandywine Falls.
It's okay.
At about 60 feet tall, Brandywine Falls is the tallest waterfall in the park. Now let's continue through the park to the Boston Mill Visitor Center. The Boston Mill Visitor Center also operates as a boarding station for the scenic train. As we head inside, there are displays on the various activities you can do within the park. There's a painting of the train. We'll take a look at the relief map of the valley. The volunteers here explained to me, since I could only spend one day in the park because of the looming government shutdown, they just told me, hey, you got to pick between going on the train or going to see another waterfall. And we're all about nature on this channel, so I decided to go for the waterfall. Heading back out of the visitor center, Boston Mill also functions as kind of a historic district. You can walk around and explore some of the older buildings, and you can also check out some home-baked goods if you like. There's a brief glance at the Cuyahoga River, and now we're going to head over to the Buckeye Trail.
Okay, so just hit up the visitor center. I got some, pretty good clarification on what I need to do. Okay, so I got a pretty tight schedule here, so let's go head up to Hen Falls and see if we can hit all our stops in one day. Oh, hey, that makes sense. The Buckeye State, Buckeye Trail. I just noticed that. If you're enjoying this content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you please give me a like. Please consider subscribing if you want to see more of these videos, and turn on the bell for notifications. Appreciate you so much, and let's continue with the hike to Hen Falls. Waterfall was okay. I think Brandywine looks quite a bit better. Pretty long walk for that kind of a waterfall. Anyways, let's head back to the van and let's go to the ledge trail. And we gotta hurry because got like 4 hours till sundown.
Yeah, when I saw the waterfall, it was at that point I wished I had taken the train ride.
Okay, so now we're heading on a trail called the Ledges Trail, and I understand this is one of the best hikes in Cuyahoga National Park, so let's check it out. Okay, so let's start. This trail seems to be paved to start off with, so it should be relatively simple. Hopefully we can get through this in about 40 minutes or so. Let's find out.
The Ledges Trail here consists of a series of rock formations and some caves that you cannot enter. This was my favorite area of the park. As you're hiking around here, for whatever reason, it made me think of a Star Wars planet like Dagobah or maybe Dakar. The rocks around here seem like they'd make a great stage for some sort of lightsaber duel. Now, the icebox cave there is barricaded off to protect bats from white nose syndrome. The stairs you see throughout the Ledges Trail were built by the Civilian Conservation Corps during the Great Depression. The rocks here were carved by glaciers, and several Native American peoples used to make their home around here and settled around here. Cuyahoga actually means crooked river. Making out from the Ledges Trail, we'll stop at the Ledges Overlook. From here, you're looking west-southwest, so I think this overlook is going to be your best bet for sunset.
Okay, so this overlook, it's okay. So let's go to the lake.
But we're going to keep it moving though and see more of the park.
Okay, like I was saying, that trail was all right. This park's been okay so far. But we got 3 more stops. Let's see if we can make it before sundown. Let's go.
Our next stop here is going to be Kendall Lake, which would make a pretty good day use area or a place to stop for lunch. Now, being from Florida, I make it a point not to get in any water if I can't see to the bottom, so I would not go swimming here. There you can see some birds that are off to the distance, and as we continue to look over the lake, let's go ahead and get into the overall recommendation and top tips for when you visit Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Now, Cuyahoga was originally designated as a national recreation area back in 1974, and to be honest, I kind of think it should be reverted back to that and not be a national park. It's nice here, but none of the geological features are particularly unique or awe-inspiring in my opinion. I mean, they are very nice, but this park just doesn't seem to have that epic scale to me. We'll pause for a moment to continue to the Everett Covered Bridge.
We're going to check out the Everett Covered Bridge.
The original bridge was destroyed in a flood back in the 70s, and the National Park reconstructed the bridge. And this area would be a great spot for Instagram photos, especially if you're visiting the park in the fall when you have peak fall colors.
It's okay.
We're going to head to Beaver Marsh for our final stop, and we'll pick back up on the recommendation and top tips. As I mentioned, I feel I should have skipped Hen Falls and taken the scenic train ride instead. You can purchase a one-way ticket for something like only $5, but that's not realistic for a solo traveler. I believe a round-trip day ticket would be something in the order of $30 or $40, and that trip takes about 3 hours. But I definitely feel like you should include the train on your itinerary along with Brandywine Falls and the Ledges Trail. Everything else here you can kind of mix and match as you please, and I think you would need a minimum of 2 days to fully explore the park. Since the national park is so close to Cleveland and Akron, boondocking around here isn't a problem at all. There are a couple of rest areas around the interstates on the perimeter of the national park, and there's a couple of Cracker Barrels. And while I didn't do it myself, I have seen where some people have successfully boondocked within the national park, and it's quite rare to be able to do that. Overall, I really enjoyed stopping here, but Cuyahoga is really more of a nice city park for Cleveland. I'd really only recommend it if you're visiting Cleveland for some reason. Otherwise, I wouldn't go out of your way to visit. Cuyahoga is definitely an incredible story of preservation. The national park was set up to basically prevent urban sprawl between Cleveland and Akron, and they've been very successful with that. There was even a Superfund site here that was cleaned up. I really respect the conservation that's gone on here, but again, the natural features here just do not measure up to the sites you see in the mega parks out west.
Mosquitoes are trying me, man. I'm from Florida, man. Those mosquitoes can't bother me. Anyways, that's going to do it for, let me see if I can get this right, Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Ohio. I appreciate you so much for joining me for this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.